got too many.
Hey, I'm PH and welcome to Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to answer common questions about the Bible in a fun and creative way. I hope these videos will be helpful in your own spiritual journey in Jesus. So let's get started. What happened to Israel after the death of Elisha? Elisha was one of the greatest prophets of the northern kingdom of Israel. Elisha ministered for over 60 years, and the Bible records no less than 32 miracles attributed to Elisha. Through Elisha, God continued to call his people to avoid the coming judgment by forsaking their sinful ways and returning to him. But generation after generation after generation, Israel persisted in their stubborn rebellion against the Lord. During the reign of Jehoash, the 12th king of Israel, Elisha became very ill, and at the age of 90, Elisha died. When Elisha's body was being buried, a group of Moabite raiders was swiftly approaching, and in haste a second body was thrown into Elisha's grave. At the moment the body touched the bones of Elisha, he who was once dead rose fully alive. Through this, we see that even after the death of Elisha, God's salvation continues to be available to the nation. And yet, following the death of Elisha, the spiritual condition of the northern kingdom continued its downward spiral. During this time, the nation of Assyria rose to prominence under the ambitious rule of Tiglath-Pileser III. And in a mere 10 years, Assyria established itself as the undisputed power in the Middle East. As Pileser continued to conquer nation after nation, Israel's king Hoshea avoided destruction by making Israel a vassal state of Assyria. When Tiglath-Pileser died in 727 BC, Hoshea saw this as an opportunity to throw off Assyrian rule, looking to Egypt for assistance. However, Shalmaneser, the new king of Assyria, marched into the capital city of Samaria, put Hoshea into prison, and deported the Israelites into Assyria. In this, the northern kingdom of Israel was no more. Though it may seem that the fall of Israel was due to the inevitable political developments in the region, the Bible clearly states that the fall of Israel was due to their abandonment of the Lord. Even as the Lord patiently sent many warnings, continuing to extend his hand of grace towards the people whom he loved, the Bible says, "But they would not listen. They abandoned the Lord's commands, and they sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord." It is because of these things that God brought his judgment against over 200 years of rebellion and rejection of the Lord, and for over 70 years the entire generation of Israel would live in exile in a foreign land. God, however, continued to hold out a hope. Through the ensuing prophets, God promised that at the appointed time he would graciously free his people from captivity and restore them to the promised land. From the fall of Israel, we see that God is not just the God of Israel, rather he is the God of all nations, who works his perfect will through very real historical events, all of which will culminate in his final judgment of sin and wickedness in this world. And though we may experience pain and sorrow in our present circumstances, God continues to extend a hope that there will be a day when every knee will bow and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord. And for those who have put their faith in Jesus, God promises that Jesus will wipe away every tear, and there will be no more crying and no more pain. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.